If you're like me and you really enjoyed Inside Out and you thought the short Riley's First Date was really funny, then Inside Out 2 offers all kinds of possibilities. Is it going to expand on her interaction with boys? Is it going to explore her what it's like for a kid to go through puberty and what's going on through their heads? And then if you watch the previews, there's all these new emotions, so that's exciting too. So how does it work with all these things? How does it work with all these expectations? What kind of product does it give you? That's what we'll be discussing today. Hello, welcome to Intermerifica, New Mexico, the channel where we look at things of wonder from the perspectives of faith and reason, philosophy and theology. I'm your host, Daniel Kelly, and today we're looking at some of my favorite wonders. Intermerifica, we're amidst the wonders of the world, or cultural wonders, and we're looking at the movie Inside Out 2. And so I start off with, hey, does it explore the interactions of all these new emotions? Does it explore, now that her emotions get along better from the end of the first movie, does she have more complex interactions with her emotions? Does it explore puberty? Does it explore her interactions with boys more? And, you know, that kind of stuff. Her becoming a teenager in that way. Well, the quick answer to all that, no, it doesn't explore any of that. And if you want a spoiler-free review, that's what it sets out to do, all this stuff. Doesn't really address any of that. That's my spoiler-free review. But if you want to keep watching and see what I really liked about it, what I really didn't, it's going to be a little bit, there will be some light spoilers. So basically what happens is, in Inside Out 2, there's this new, as she grows older, Riley now, her memories don't just form core memories that kind of make those personality islands. So when she was younger, she, in a new situation, she could rely on her personality islands. That's just like the go-to, right? These are things that are about my personality that I can just rely on those when I encounter new experiences, right? Makes sense. As she grows older, the new mechanic kind of that they introduce is some memories now form beliefs. And beliefs form her self-identity. This is the kind of person I am. This is the kind of person I see myself as. This is the kind of person that I want to be. But that's really cool. A lot of the her beliefs, all of them, are kind of narcissistic. But I understand that. Having taught middle schoolers, I understand that a lot of their beliefs might be very narcissistic. And the kind of belief she forms in her pre-pubescent time, right up until she's 13, is that she's a good person. That's her self-identity. That's what her beliefs have led her to. And I think that's really cool. I think that that's a lot of what... it's a little bit cheesy. I don't think any kid puts in the words, I'm a good person, yeah. But I think, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And kind of the conflict of the story is when she's encountering new situations, and as she's gaining more emotions and stuff, her belief in that she's a good person is challenged, and a different core seeing herself is presented. And the storyline is kind of the war between which of these two self-identities is going to win out. Is it the self-identity of I'm a good person, or the self-identity that forms over the course of the movie, that I'm just going to spoil what it forms into, is the other identity that's trying to take over is I'm not good enough. So it's these two identities clash. That's the basic story. Well, actually, I had to dig a bunch to try to get that basic story because there isn't any clear, straight-up storyline in the movie. So they introduce a lot of new ideas, like those core beliefs. They introduce a lot of new emotions, and they don't really know what to do with them, unfortunately. It's just they're all kind of there. They don't develop them too much. Anyway, but I want to start out with things that I really liked about this movie. Things I really liked, the way that it shows that core belief of I'm a good person, that's not good enough. And of course, as Christians, we know if you just have that kind of nice day pagan religion that's very popular in America right now, where I'm a good person and that's good enough, well, this movie says, yeah, that's not good enough. It's not good enough just to be like, I'm a good person. That's not good enough. And that's really cool that this movie does that. Also, the idea then, you can be tempted to think, oh, I'm not good enough. That's my core identity. Also, that's not good. So the movie shows that, no, both of those are insufficient. It doesn't have a replacement. There's no resolution. It's just, yep, those are insufficient. What is sufficient? Who knows? Like in the first Inside Out, it showed where, okay, look, sadness and joy seem incompatible, but you actually need more. Sadness isn't just negative. It had a good message, especially for kids. And I like the first Inside Out because it was a very simple kind of morality fable that you could put a lot more meaning into, dig deeper, because it was so simple and could lend itself to all sort of different digging deeper. This one gets lost in more complexity. I think that's a problem in a lot of movies nowadays. Like Across the Spider-Verse, I know a lot of people love Across the Spider-Verse, but it tries to introduce just too much, so all of it's very surface level, shallow. And that's the same thing with this. There's too many characters. They not only introduce all the new emotions, which there's anxiety, there's embarrassment, there's envy, and I have to think because none of these are developed. Like envy, that character sounds okay, that emotion might be cool. Most of the movie I was like, what does she do again? Who is she? What? Because they don't develop it. And then there's the emotion called Henry, okay? Literally, Henri. There's an emotion called Henri. But don't worry, he's not very important. He's kind of like the boredom, I think, is what he actually was. And just, I'm too cool for anything. But none of those get developed, so you don't have to worry about them very much. They don't interact with the original emotions very much. It starts out looking like, oh, look, fear and anxiety are going to interact because they're kind of similar. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And then sadness and embarrassment are connected. Okay, now that develops very well. Another thing that, so it gets too complex, and not only does it introduce all those characters, then there's all kinds of imaginary characters that introduces, and it's just like, whoa, this is too much. And of course, it doesn't do anything with any of them. It introduces her video game crush. It introduces, all kinds of things like that. But they're there for like 10 seconds, and then they're gone. And it's just super disconnected. And so that makes it a little bit boring. One thing I really liked that I was like, oh, this is, because I was looking deeply, I wanted, oh, what's the message? What is this trying to teach us? That kind of stuff. And there was this point that I really liked where Riley is just stuck in her head. She's just paralyzed. Literally, she can't do anything because all the emotions in her head are just overwhelming her. And she's paralyzed. And it's so good. She's just stuck in her head. And it shows her friends see her, and they're like, oh, I'm worried about her. Like, what's going on with her? And they start going over. And I was like, oh, yes, this is awesome. It's going to show that sometimes you're just powerless. You need someone outside. You're just stuck in your own head. You need someone outside to come help you. No, that doesn't happen. She solves it by herself. I don't even know why they showed her friends looking at her. It doesn't connect to the overall storyline. Also, the whole question of puberty is destroyed at the outset. Literally, they throw puberty away. Joy rips it out of the console, throws it away, and that never has consequences in the movie. That never is addressed in the movie. It's just like, yeah, okay, done with puberty. So it introduces a lot of cool stuff. The main villain, I guess, would be the emotion. What I liked is there wasn't a villain in the first one. And I know that Disney's been doing no villains too much. I've even said that. But in Inside Out 1, it worked. I guess you could kind of say sadness is, but then they reconcile and it's good. Well, the villain in this is anxiety. And she acts kind of like they have parts where she's a tyrannical dictator of Riley's head, and that makes sense. Anxiety, especially for a teenager, a little just beginning. She's 13 through most of the movie. Yeah, anxiety can have this tyrannical hold on you. That's cool. They don't really resolve how anxiety is an important part, like they did with sadness. They don't address that. Hey, you're kind of like a tyrannical dictator. No, we're just friends. They don't address any of that. So I think it brings up a lot of cool questions. Just doesn't answer them very much. And what it leads to is it's actually just kind of a boring movie. And that's my overall takeaway from this. It's not a bad movie at all. There's not anything difficult. It's just all the questions that it set out to answer. It doesn't. Like, for example, if you watch Riley's First Date, oh, that's kind of funny. Are they going to do stuff more like that? No, there's no guys in the storyline. No guys. All girls. The only guy that's outside of Riley's head, and there's not even very much in her head, besides the emotions, but the only guy outside of Riley's head is her dad, and he's only there for a little bit. It's an all-girls thing. And some people, I saw some worries before this came out. Oh, might this have difficult themes for Christianity and stuff? Not really. Riley, even in the first one, and her family were pagan, not pagan in a bad sense, just not Christian, doesn't have anything to do with Christian, and she doesn't do anything that's against Christianity in this. Well, there's no main conflict. She goes to a hockey camp, and that's all there is. There's no main conflict. There's no running away, going to a different town or anything. There's nothing really important that happens to her. It's just, yeah, okay. There's no real drama created. It's just like, okay, she's at a hockey camp. That's cool, I guess. Actually, my wife had left to the bathroom. She came back and she was all like, wait, she went to a hockey camp. I was interested in what was going to happen, and now it's the last day. And I was like, yep, that's kind of the way this movie is. And there's nothing harmful for a Christian viewer. So my bottom line is it's a fine movie to watch for a little bit of fun, to re-see the things, to get some laughs. There's some funny parts, especially with the emotion. Nostalgia keeps trying to come in, but she's not old enough to have nostalgia yet. That's funny, haha. But mostly it's just a boring movie, and I can't highly recommend it. My bottom line is mostly boring, nothing offensive, and it's fine to watch either way. I hope that was helpful to you. You have a good day. God bless you.